no amount of legal jargon or legal theory or legal whatsoever will justify what is happening. His deportation, his
Welcome, fellow Biafrans, lovers of freedom across the world. I thank you for joining us on this program. I welcome you to this very platform, Biafra Exodus Hack Talk TV, where we bring information that has to do with the restoration of Biafra, information that is coming from the Prime Minister and from the Biafran people. Today, we are going to bring to you the things that are happening. The uprising. We are going to bring to you the argument that is rising from the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You can hear different versions in this platform. Please like and share this program to all platforms. Like and share to everyone that is out there to get the fact of the situation. I want you to pay attention to this very argument. You are going to see the wickedness of their funja, the ignorance of their funja.
Is Dr. Femi Ferguson, a social scientist, political activist, social political commentator, author, lecturer, and preacher of the gospel. Good evening, Dr. Ferguson. Thank you for joining us as well.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We'll begin with Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, who became a controversial figure due to his vocal advocacy for the secession of Biafra from Nigeria. His movement has deep historical roots in the Nigerian Civil War, which lasted between 1967 and 1970, when the southeastern region, predominantly Igbo, attempted to secede as the Republic of Biafra. In 2015, he was arrested by Nigerian authorities on charges of treason, which escalated tensions. After being released on bail in 2017, Kanu fled the country under unclear circumstances, leading to a long period of uncertainty about his whereabouts. In 2021, Kanu was controversially arrested abroad, allegedly in Kenya, and was extradited to Nigeria, sparking a new wave of protests, especially in the southeast. His trial, combined with accusations of unfair treatment, human rights violation, and IPOB's activities, including claims of violence, has deepened divisions in Nigeria. However, today, Kanu said that spending an extra year in detention will not kill him. He stated upon the resumption of his trial in the Federal High Court in Abuja. Nnamdi Kanu accused the government of selectively interpreting the Supreme Court's judgment in his case. He expressed frustration that the court has refused to grant him bail despite the Supreme Court's decision. Kanu also argued that a fair trial cannot proceed when key provisions of the Nigerian Constitution have allegedly been violated by the court. Now, I'll start with you, Dr. Femi Ferguson. Why is it, Kanu said in his speech that the court is cherry-picking elements of the Supreme Court judgment. So my question to you is, why is that the case? The popular reason, according to citizens and netizens, is that the government does not want him out by any means, and they're doing all that they can to keep him in jail, using the judiciary as a tool. Is this a school of thought that you agree with?
I don't think Kanu is very far from the truth. I've been saying it all the time that Kanu cannot be released from the gullet. First of all, Kanu ought not to be more than the time he has spent in DSS cell. Not to be there. Everybody knows that the incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu and the continuous detention of him by the DSS is abnormal. It is unjustified. It is illegal. Kanu extradition from Kenya to Nigeria is also illegal. We all know that every person, even without having the knowledge of the law, even a man on the common man on the street, knows that the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu is really abnormal. It is illegal. Therefore, we're not just talking about the Supreme Court selective application of the law of the judgment or whatsoever. We know that Kanu is not in detention. He's not in custody of DSS because of any legal logjam. He's kept there by the powers that be. That nothing They control the Supreme Court, they control the judiciary, everybody in Nigeria, even the actors, the legal luminaries, the practitioners, even the most senior ones keep on saying that the most corrupt place now is not even the political elite, but even the judiciary. The judiciary have been compromised and have become a temple of corruption. Instead of supposed to be the temple of justice. So everybody know, yeah, we don't need to talk much about Kanu's detention, incarceration in DSS detention camp. We know that they refuse to obey the law. What can only solve the problem of Kanu is only political negotiation. It's political negotiation, not legal, not court, not anything. Not anything. So let's don't talk about Kanu, about whether Supreme Court judgment or no judgment. Because no amount of legal jargon or legal theory or legal whatsoever will justify what is happening. His deportation, his the so-called up and down, off and up, and court judgment by Binta Nayako and Co. Can you see today he washed off his hand and declared to make himself a saint by, herself from the judgment. So I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say again about such a satanic and the evil federal government manipulation of fact. And we all know why Carlo left this country. We know how can a man who is fearing trial for you to send soldiers to go and kill him and slaughter men? I mean, what are we going to talk about in this country concerning some certain thing that's being done? It's not that everybody are kept quiet. Nobody wants to say something. Everybody is afraid of victimization. Some people are afraid of one thing or the other. The people like us cannot close our mouth. When we see the truth, we say the truth. So I think that's what I want to stop now about this Supreme Court Holubalu and Supreme Court manipulations of facts. So that's what I will say for now.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that's what I will say for now.
Thank you, Dr. Dumferguson. Thank you for that. You made a point about no justification. There's no amount of legal jargon that can justify the fact that he's still incarcerated. My question to you, Mr. Fanmo, would be, is there any justification for the fact that he's still in jail? He's talked about political solutions and the fact that it's not really about the Supreme Court judgment. So what exactly is the reason why he's still in jail if the Supreme Court has determined otherwise?
If we continue to debate the continued incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu, we would just be sort of doing rhetorics because it's not really going to help. I sympathize with the young man. Even if you are given the best of treatment in a place where your freedom is curtailed, you can't be a happy man. And it has a psychological effect on you that it takes a lot of therapy and counseling for you to get out of it. Because as we are seated here in the studio, if somebody stays at the door there and say, you guys are not leaving till tomorrow morning, you will discover that you'll be sweating even when there is air conditioner on. So to say that somebody, 4 years in the life of a young man,
precisely,
it's a whole lot of damage to his psyche. And so, rather than engage in rhetorics of if it is right or wrong for him to be incarcerated, I think what we should be talking about is how do we find a solution to this logjam that this young man can come out of detention and begin to pursue his life ambitions and be able to relate to the wife and the children, So for me, because each day this discussion comes up, I fear for the man's health. I fear for his life.
Yeah, there have been times that we talked about his health being in bad condition.
And in a situation like this, he's not likely to get, even if he's getting the best of treatment, psychologically he's not getting the best of treatment. So what I would be talking about, what we should concern ourselves about is how will this man come out of this incarceration, without debilitating effect on his health, on his psyche. And that's what that doctor suggested, that we need political solution to it. For me, I strongly believe that the political elite from the Southeast should do more than what they are doing now.
You think they've not done enough?
They've not done enough. You understand? There are two ways to it. One, are they really approaching the right people who could also find a political solution to it? Two, have they assuaged the fears of Kanu that if he's let off the hook and something drastic may not happen to him, even in freedom within Nigeria? So those two angles are the angles we should be exploring. I want a situation where there will be a political solution with some level of compromise on each of the parties that are involved, the federal government and political actors in the Southeast, looking at permanent solution to this. And one of the things they have to do is to ensure that the profiling of IPOB is de-escalated as much as possible. Because as long as the profiling of IPOB is in breach of the law, there is likelihood that these blames will be heaped on Nnamdi Kanu. And of course, apart from having his day in court, he doesn't have opportunity of putting it to Nigerians that this is my position and this is the way it is. You understand? So it's still his own speculation against those who are holding him captive. So for me, I'll give you an example. It wasn't for nothing that when Sunday Igboho was incarcerated was chased out of Nigeria after that violent attack, which is also like what happened to Kanu that made him flee the country. Igboho lost a lot of things, including his cousin in that house that day before he fled. And he was also pursued to the Republic of Benin, where you have a former chief of army staff as the ambassador then. But in the course of this, Yoruba elders didn't speak in the open as much as doing the underground maneuvering and horse trading for him to be let off the hook.
So you're saying that's what led to him being let off the hook in the first
place? It's not just that Igboho had the opportunity of going to court to prove his innocence. That's not what gave him that respite.
So you're saying there was that political solution that came into the
Yes. And when of Nnamdi Kanu stature, Sunday Igboho stature, being incarcerated, it's not all about muscle flexing out there. And it's not all about media showing that would assuage the feelings of those who are holding them. You have to go on the ground and begin to do intense negotiation.
Okay,
and part of it is
part
of which is qualified freedom, not absolute freedom. You can see as soon as Sunday Igboho came back to the country, it was not as vociferous as when he left the country. He was not leading non-state actors to fight herdsmen in the forest and taking along with him cameramen and all that. He was just saying, well, that it's still part of the agitation, but in a way, trying to use some other means. So, because at the end of the day, if anything happens to Kanu, I tell you, it is the family, the immediate family that suffers most. The wife will suffer. She will become, God forbid, a widow. And then the children will also miss their dad. And I'll tell you, even as we speak now, the children and waiting and longing to have him back. You know, no matter how terrible a father is, once you miss him, you want him back, especially when he's alive. It's only when he's dead that you just work on your psyche and then think that this man cannot be retrieved.
It's time to move on.
So for me, beyond this bravado, muzzle flexing and all that, I think we should find a political solution to this logjam so that this man can be free and enjoy the rest of his life.
All right. There were some points you made about talking to the right people. I'm sure you know that lawmakers have visited President Buhari. They've talked and they've written and they've advocated, if you please, and still he's still incarcerated. So all of that has not yielded anything positive as of now.
I consider that as showmanship.
You don't think that that's talking to the right people?
No. See, what I'm saying is, if legislators want to meet, if they had wanted to meet Buhari at that time, it shouldn't be in the open. There are some things. Let me give you a vivid example. I used to have a boss back then. It's late now. And one thing that is peculiar to big men is if you have problem with a big man, don't go begging him with people, retinue of people to beg him. You understand? One, he wants to show that he's man enough to stand by his decision. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want anybody to bruise his ego. But when he's alone and you just go to him, he might shout, he might rake, he might do anything, but at a point, he will look around and say, why am I even doing this? You know, it comes down, and I've used it on several occasions to effect. So what I'm saying is, negotiating freedom for Nnamdi Kanu shouldn't be on the pages of newspaper or right on television or radio. It should be the behind the scene thing.
And then you
just see it happening. And then they just arraign him, they give him bail. Somebody who has already negotiated will be there to effect the surety. And then the man is out.
All right. I'm coming to you, Dr. Adam Ferguson. Mr. Fanimo is saying that the Southeastern actors, stakeholders, have not done enough in doing the underground work and negotiating on his behalf to get him out of incarceration. Now, is it that they've not done enough, or that this particular administration is being dogged or stubborn, for lack of a better word, in order to keep him in prison for a certain reason? There are different speculations on what this certain reason could be, but I'll pose that to you in this way, just to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. You see, Nnamdi Kanu's case is complicated, but intricate. It cannot compare with Sunday Igboho or any other person. Why did I say so? Number one is that Nnamdi Kanu is standing on a certain platform, an ideology. He's not standing on nothing. He's standing on something that has been existing. He's standing on existence. What do I say so? And the federal government, the actors and people responsible for his incarceration are not just people who are dealing with Nnamdi Kanu based on the certain charges like treason. They put it as maybe a political vengeance or whatsoever. No, the people that is working and trying to get a pound of flesh are the people who either got wounded, got bruised, who have suffered loss on what Nnamdi Kanu is standing. Like number one, all the people that are trying and charging, both in the courts, both in the executive, both in the parliament, are people who, majority of them, are the people that were part of what brought Nnamdi Kanu to this level. I'm talking about Nigerian Civil War. Buhari fought the war. And it will be very bad for him to sit there and listen to anybody who wants to remind him what he suffered in the war front. Even though Tinubu did not go to war, but he partook in it as an adult as of that time. Anybody who participates or who were alive or who were young or who has already become an adult between 1967 to 1970 will tell you, will be so angry, will be so furious, will demand the execution of Nnamdi Kanu. I'm telling the truth. But just because if this happened during the military regime, he would have been executed and be killed without anything happening. What we're talking about is we are in democracy. But fortunately, all the people who are persecuting and prosecuting Nnamdi Kanu are people who participated in that unjustified program called war. Therefore, it will be very, very difficult. The only way that this thing can be solved is Nnamdi Kanu to be battered to submission. For now, Nnamdi Kanu they believe that they have not been battered to submission. If anybody telling you that something have not been going, underground, the person is lying. I am part of negotiating teams. I am part of the consultants towards Nnamdi Kanu's everything before he was castrated and before he was incarcerated. Many of us prophesied, many of us predicted that a time like this will come. You see, if you look at Ojukwu, let's bring Ojukwu's case, who is President Nnamdi Kanu is standing on what he started. During Ojukwu, when he was in exile, a lot of people were moving from here to Ivory Coast to talk and to negotiate. And when NPN discovered that they might lose the election, that